freezing here.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, it's really warm here. It's been like ridiculously hot.
Lucky you.
I'm
Oh
jealous.
no, yeah, we only get like 4 months of nice weather and then it's awfully cold and raining the rest of the time.
Yeah, well, it's well into our winter now, so yeah,
Oh, that's so
and
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like
It
the
is
polar
kinda
opposite,
weird.
isn't it?
Yes.
And people think Australia doesn't get very cold, but it does.
Oh yeah, it snows in some places. We have like skiing resorts and everything.
Yeah, it's funny
Yeah.
you say that because I was looking at your TikTok earlier and I was like, wow, because you were sat on the beach and you're like saying it's cold. I was like, it's cold in Australia.
Yeah.
Yes, it gets cold. I mean, usually it's been warming up like maybe 11. Like we've had really good weather.
You
like
mean 11 degrees?
no, like 11 a.m.
Oh, it heats up at 11.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
right.
heats up at 11 a.m. But yeah, just because our weather usually isn't too bad. It's autumn and it's spring that sometimes can be really intense. At least in my experience over the past couple of years. Because like winter has been fine. Like it's just cold in the mornings and then it goes sunny.
It rained a lot. We got
But
a
that was
lot
in
of rain.
autumn.
Yeah, we
That
got a
was
lot of
all in
rain.
autumn. Yeah. It was just
Yeah, we
had
had a lot of
crazy
rain as
floods.
well. It was just non-stop raining every single day.
Yes, yes, same here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
So,
I mean, it does give me the chance to like get on with everything I've been avoiding in the house. So it's meant to be.
that is true. Yes, that is true. But I'll just welcome everyone because it's been a couple minutes. So welcome everyone to Which Bitch, where we talk the real tea. Today we have Lanna Joe on. I'm so excited. So I think how we usually start this show is we ask our guests their spiritual journey and how they woke up and just like their journey to get where they are today. So yeah,
Yes, I love it.
what's
I
your
love
story?
it. I love it all. Yeah, I mean, God, where do I start? That's like, I mean, like,
It's a big
I feel like I've always
Yeah, it's
been
a big question.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's like that.
Yeah.
There's been so much, so much. But yeah, I mean, I feel like my whole life I've always kind of been connected to the spiritual world, but I didn't call it the spiritual world because it was so normalized within my life. And then yeah, it was like I think I've just always had this calling to be a teacher, someone that helps others to help guide others by the guides that are guiding me. And I fought myself with that for a long time because, being a teenager, you just want to be a teenager. And then, yeah, I finally surrendered. I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. Not only need to do it, I love doing it. It just makes me feel whole and amazing. And yeah, so then I just stepped onto my path. So yeah, loving life now.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. I think for me it was like the same. It was a similar sort of thing where I was spiritual but I wasn't really aware. I was just like kind of
because it was normal for her.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of young people are like every young person I meet, I'm like, whoa, I'm literally like gobsmacked every time I speak to like my generation younger because I'm like, whoa, you're so awake and you don't like actually understand what you're talking about, and it's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that doesn't have a definition because that's just the way they are.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
how I feel about it. But for me, like I grew up in the 80s. I was born in the 70s and grew up in the 80s. And I was not awake at all, like completely asleep. And even now, like Juliet will say stuff to me and I'll go, what are you talking about?
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, because my mom always says, like, she always makes a joke, like, you think that you're teaching your children, but actually they're teaching you. And me and my mom remind each other of a lot all the time. Like, when she'll be, like, kind of floating back into old programs, I'll remind her. And when I'm floating back into old programs, she'll remind me. And it's really cool because then we'll balance each other out.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think we kind of do that sometimes. But usually, like, in our relationship, a lot of the time it's just us complaining. But then, like, solving each other's problems.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like just being fully like expressive of how we're feeling and then go from there. So sometimes
Yeah.
our
Nice
conversations are
healthy
very
release.
tiny.
Yeah, we're a
Sometimes you've
sounding
got a
board
plan.
for each other.
Pardon?
We're like a sounding board for each other. So Juliet will kind of go, oh, this is what's happening. And I'll kind of go, oh, it's okay. Like, it's going to be okay. You know, like, just try this or try that, or, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. And then she'll work it out for herself, like, because she's gotten it all off her chest. And then she's calmed down and she can reason with herself again, and things work out. And same for me, like, I'll get things off my chest with her and she'll be like, it's okay, mum, things will work out, try this, try that. And then I feel better, and then things, I can reason and things do get better then. So it's like we kind of hold space for each other to work it out ourselves.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
that's amazing. That's
yeah,
beautiful as well. Oh, that's so nice to
yeah,
hear.
yeah. So because there's no judgment, there's like just, you know, feelings of love when
Yeah.
she's going through something hard. And I mean, there is judgment sometimes. There is judgment sometimes, but most of the time, no.
Yeah.
That's a natural response for a mother and a daughter, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
that's just, yeah, that's natural. A bit of
yeah.
healthy judgment. What is it like? Positive criticism?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Or, you know, sometimes it's just that she's tired or I'm tired or we're going through our own stuff and it's like, oh, not now. Like, I can't
Yeah.
deal with it right now.
We're only
Yeah.
human, you know, we're all
Yeah.
working through it and growing and learning. And like, you know, one minute I can be like absolutely unreactive and like totally in flow state at peace. And then one minute I can just be instantly triggered. And I'm just like, you know, nobody
Yeah.
talk to me. I'm in, you know, don't talk to me or I will nearer. And that's why, and now I've learned that I will just remove myself from the situation to
Yes,
obviously
exactly.
avoid that.
Yes.
Because, you know, sometimes you've got to hold space for yourself and that's healthy as well. Take yourself and whatever you need to do, whether that's have a bath or go for a walk or meditate, you know, anything. Or even like, you know, if you wanted to self-sabotage for a minute and have a pizza or like whatever, just whatever makes you feel happy. Because, you know,
Yeah.
like we are humans at the end of the day. And that's another thing I fought myself with for a long time is I felt like to be spiritual had to be like completely and utterly clean from like absolutely everything. And it is so hard, like, especially like buying completely vegan, clean, healthy, 100%. It's really expensive. And when you've got a young daughter who's 1 year old and she goes through things like, you know, as you can imagine, as quick as anything, it's, yeah, it was like, it's really hard. I realized actually it's not about being, you know, 100% that, it's about healthy balance, whatever suits your life. You know, everybody's different. If 100% everything works for you and you feel whole, then that's like, you know, that's beautiful for you. But if you want to have a pizza or, you know, have a drink or do something little like that, that's okay. Just don't, I think it's just about like not abusing anything and like seeing like so like, you know, like plants is like sacred, and like alcohol is a sacred, it's an energy behind it, and understanding when you're consuming it, how you're consuming it, are you protecting yourself and how you're doing it, and that really like brought a lot of peace within myself because I was like, I didn't have to fight myself anymore. It's like you can just live your life in a happy way as long as you're not hurting your body and you're looking after yourself. You do you, and do whatever that
exactly.
is.
Yeah, I love that. That's, yeah, so true.
Because, yeah, I think that is something that really comes up for a lot of people, especially when they just wake up, like this feeling of, oh, I have to be perfect at everything, like I need to eat really healthy food. And that was me. And it created like such a toxic relationship with food for me. Like, I mean,
She put a lot of pressure on herself.
yeah. And I've never really had the greatest relationship with food, like from high school, because like I just depended on food to make me feel happy, because it was the one thing in life. It was the one thing in life that brought me happiness.
Oh, thanks, Juliet.
Only during high school, okay, I was depressed.
If I feel sad,
Yeah,
like
high school is a toxic environment.
Pardon, what did you say?
I said sometimes when I feel sad or I'm on my monthly, I'm like, McDonald's, come on, let's just go.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like that. and it was junk food. Like, it wasn't really healthy food a lot of the time. So, based on that, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna eat really healthy. And I even tried going vegan myself, and it lasted like maybe 2-3 days. Like, I felt so
it's
yeah, I
hard.
felt so gross. It is hard, and it was the way that I was doing it as well.
Yeah.
Like, it was the way that I was doing it. So it took me some time to learn that lesson about how spirituality isn't just being perfect and eating really good, and like, it's literally impossible to just break habits in like a span of a week and and start eating like perfectly healthy, no treats. And like, yeah, one day I do want to eat like that, like really healthy and not relying on sugar or, you know, fast food to, you know,
bring you
bring me
happiness.
happiness and like be like, oh, let's treat myself with an ice cream or something. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, ice cream tastes good, but is it really a treat at the end of the day for your body? Like, yeah.
It's a treat for your tongue.
Yeah, it's not really a treat for your
buds.
It is, it's so true. And like, you realize, like, so when I first started like dabbling in veganism and plant diets and stuff like that, I made myself so ill because I didn't do it properly and I had no clue. And now that I actually know how to do it properly, when I do, like, because I don't really like label myself like with a diet because I just eat whatever whenever kind of, but I do tend to eat healthy most of the time, like with my meals and my cooking. And before, like, if you don't know, you literally are just eating like salads and like rice and like stupid things, plastic potatoes with just beans, and like, yeah, and then now I cook basically like anything I used to cook before. I just cook it in a different way, or I'll just reduce things or and like supplement things, and it's actually really cool because I love it. But I'm not like crazing over it, like, you know, I just do whatever feels right in the moment, as long as I'm not like, because like, I used to do the same, like I used to literally just go to the shop, buy Doritos, loads of chocolate bars, and just sit and eat them all just all the time, every single night. Like, it was just like, you know, and I think, and at the time I never seen it as kind of masking emotions, but now I look back, I was like, that's definitely what I was doing. And like, I was like, it was ridiculous as well because I was so skinny, but I was just constantly just like eating and eating, but I wasn't eating the right thing. So I was making myself poorly as well. And it's a vicious cycle when you're in it. You don't actually see it. Like, you don't actually let, and then you go, oh, when you're on the other side, you're like, oh, so that's the pattern, the cycle that I was in.
Yeah, so true. And you're not getting any nutrition when you're eating like that. Your body's probably starving. Because all it is calories and low vibe
sugar.
Yeah, low vibe food. So you're probably
it's just going through you. You're not actually getting anything from it. Like, it's actually crazy when you sit and think about it. Actually, like, because when I consciously eat, it's crazy the difference between like consciously eating and unconsciously eating. And I rarely consciously eat when I reflect, because when I'm very in tune with myself and feeling very enhanced in like my sensitivities, I'll look at a piece of food and I'll know whether that should go in my body. And even something like, I'll go to like Tesco's, which is like quite a known supermarket around here. You'll go to the shop and get a meal deal, like the healthiest option, and I'll look at that and I'll know, I'll like, that still shouldn't go inside me, and that's like the healthiest like available lunch option in the shops, and I'm like, nah, the energy that's not fresh. And it looks dense. You can see it looks dense. It's like, whoa. So it's actually, it is hard. And like, but then you can totally see the difference from like a store-bought wrap, and then if you make a wrap at home, and like if you can see energies and auras and like in foods and stuff, you go, wow, there's a total difference. Who knows what they're putting in that store-bought food.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you're making your own food too, like, for me at least, I'm putting my love into that food. I feel like everyone does. When you cook your own food, you're putting so much intention. And that's why it's important when you are cooking to be in that almost meditative state where you're still aware, so you're not like setting the house on fire, but also just aware of your thoughts that you're putting into this food. And when you're cooking, generally, you're going to be thinking, oh, I'm so excited to eat this. I'm so proud of myself for making this dish. Oh, it smells so good. Like, you're thinking really positive things a lot of the time. I mean, sometimes when it doesn't go right, you'll be like, oh my God, what have I done? But to be aware of your thoughts while you're cooking, like, that's that intention, that's that magic going into the food. And then when you put it on the plate, I do something where like I either bow to the food like in gratitude, or I like speak love to it, because
That's awesome.
yeah,
That is
because
incredible.
there's this discovery that when you say words to water, it changes the molecular
structure.
Yeah.
And so there's these like pictures of saying I hate you to water and I love you to water, and it's like a snowflake with the love, but then just this jagged
like a black hole.
Yeah.
It's awful, isn't it? It's the same with plants as well. If you grow like two of the same plants, or two of any plants, and you shout abuse at one plant and shout love at the other, one grows and one dies. It's like this absolutely crazy. That the intention thing though, I'm so glad. Like everything happens for a reason. I was looking for your TikToks earlier, and you just reminded me about that, putting intention into things. I don't know why I've not done that, and like probably about, I'd say about a month, like a couple of weeks, I've not done that. But the difference it has, and just before speaking to you guys, because it's fresh in my memory, I lit my candles. As I'm lighting my candles, I'm putting the intention in. But I never thought about that with food. Like obviously I do it consciously, but I've never consciously thought about actually the magic that you're like putting into it. That's incredible. But I have been doing something funny. So like what I do now, if I'm eating something unhealthy, I'll change the energetic coding of it. So I'll go in and I'll say, and it's healthy. And like my mom, every time she sees, she's like, you're looking so healthy. You've lost loads of weight. And I'm like, well, I've not done anything. I ate Mackies for dinner last night. And yeah, I honestly believe it is just like everything is programming, and if you can fully grasp that and understand that, then you can change the programming of anything. And I think it's hilarious. Me and my friends will laugh because we do it all the time. It's like a joke. It's like if it's hidden in plain sight. If you just knew really what life was, then it's like it can be so easily, like so smoothly flow through.
Yeah, because we're such powerful beings, aren't we? We're creators. Humans are creators. So
we're Neo in the Matrix, where we can just bend anything
I
to our will.
believe that. Yeah, honest to God, like I believe if enough of us believe we could all fly, we could, because I like every time I fly when I astral travel, that is a natural feeling to me. Like that is just more real than doing this right now, and like the feelings that come with it as well, like that I truly believe if we got like enough of the like population, if we just like get enough of us to build a huge podcast, and we just like do a mass like awakening through that at the same time, we just need to get as many people on board across the earth, and then just like watch it all happen on camera.
We'll be part of that.
Yeah, 100%. Like we just need to make it happen. I'm sure between us three, we know enough people to get the word around.
We could also bring Todd in. He would have like a whole crowd behind
Todd
him.
will bring an army.
Yes, we just need to do it. The power's in our hands, and I keep reminding myself of that, because I manifest on the daily, but I manifest in like small scale, like what do you want to do today, like things like that. What do you want to attract into the day? But with this power, I'm like, why am I not manifesting large scale? And my mom keeps telling me, she's like, manifest a bit of land. We all want to like get our tribe and just live on a bit of land now. We're done. We're done living like this. And so I think that's like the next step. Is this kind of like getting the tribe, like the soul tribe together. And we don't even mind where we go. We were looking at Mexico, Portugal, like just get us all together. We need to make the magic happen.
Loads of people are going to Portugal at the moment. Loads.
Yeah,
YouTube. If you go on YouTube, everyone's moving to Portugal.
Yeah, it's because the land is so cheap. There's like ridiculously cheap land. Like me and my partner looking, like I think it was like the second lockdown, so like a year or two ago, and we were like, this is crazy. Like I'm pretty sure, like off the top of my head, I can't remember, but it was like a piece of land in Portugal was like just as cheap as like my rent I'm paying like just now. And I'm wow, like that's crazy. And like So it's impossible. It's always possible. Everything's possible.
Yeah.
Just gotta find out what we want to do with it.
Yeah.
We're in the same boat. I mean, our very not straight plan, like we have a very loose plan, is to so we're currently living in Sydney, and I'll speak for myself. I despise this place sometimes.
Yeah, Sydney's intense.
It's really hard. It's really hard to live here because when you're awake, because it's not many people are awake. I mean, you can always find them, like, because you attract, you attract that frequency. So no matter where you go, like say you start a class or you're doing something new, you usually can find at least one. But walking like every day in the city, on the trains, it's just like,
you're really sensitive to vibration.
I'm really sensitive. Like I'm really, really, really sensitive. And I've been underestimating how sensitive I am because it just hits me so hard all the time. And so being in the city is just really intense for me. So our plan at the moment is to get like a van, and also I'll get myself a car, so we're not all 4 people living in a van, but live in our vehicles and travel around Australia. And through our travels we'll find land or a place where we want to live, because right now we don't really know. Like we have some ideas of like where we might want to live, but
you don't know until you see it.
I would rather want to see all of my options rather than just deciding, we like it in this place.
I love that. I feel like everyone's kind of got the same idea, because like that's my partner's dream. Like that is like all we want to do. Obviously we want our base to be anywhere that is, and then travel. That's like literally the dream. Pardon me, sorry. We're just really, really looking forward to that, and I feel like it's all coming together now a lot faster than I think we all realise. But I really relate to the living in the city. I lived in a city from the age of 16 till 19. And I like, although it's not actually that bad, like isn't that bad, but for me, as you say, walking through the streets, taking on all that energy, it was horrendous. Like I would I lived in a really, really bad flat as well, so I was around a lot of dense, distorted energy a lot of the time, and you'd hear a lot of horrible things going on. And my partner, he'd just sleep through it, and he was absolutely like fine. Like obviously it like, he noticed it, but it didn't affect him like that. Like I would sit up at night like worrying and like feeling and like probably just like processing their people's emotions and stuff. So I can relate to that. But I think what helped me the most is like every time I'm going into an environment like that, I put up a pillar of light to protect me, and I'm probably sure you do something like that anyway. But it is hard, but just keep putting the light around you, and I'll be there in spirit protecting you as well. I'll be there. I'll be like, Juliet, I'll protect you. What I do, a lot of the places around here, like there can be like bad vibes, and I used to every time I used to go out, I used to always like attract negative energy, not like to me, but I'd see it and feel it. And now every time I go out, I say I'm only attracting people with good experiences. I'm only going to bump or feel people with good intentions, good experiences, and that's all I've been doing recently, and it's been working. So that hopefully that helps you, because that's been helping me recently. I've just been like a protection bubble, I suppose.
Well, actually, that's what I've been doing. I do these things sometimes where I say these affirmations and I create like a bubble around me, but it takes some time, and I have to like prepare myself before I leave the house. Like I have to remember. So if I don't remember to do it with like affirmations, I just envision a bubble, and then other times I'll just wear a crystal. But I love that. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, okay, no, it's gone. I love that pillar of light idea, because that's using light to really
light's quite strong.
Outshine the dark. So I think I might do that actually, because the bubble doesn't really work sometimes.
Because my mum was telling me about it. Sorry, pardon?
Maybe she's not believing in it enough, like it needs to have a little bit of oomph behind it.
Yeah,
really
maybe. Because like my mum was telling me for ages, pillar of light, pillar of light, pillar of light, and like I wasn't like ignoring her intentionally, but it just wasn't going in, and I just wasn't paying attention to that. And then and because of that, I kept bumping into like the same sort of entities and same sort of like darkness. And then I was like, and then I stood up and then I had a direct download, and I was like, protection, pillar of light, build your pillar of light. Like you are a fifth dimensional, multi-dimensional being that can build a pillar of light around your human avatar as you go through this plane of experience. And I literally just stood up and I'd done it. And yeah, since then, like I've actually not really encountered anything dense other than like my own stuff. So like things that like I'm personally like from my actual experience of being Lana, of me, like not other aspects of me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like yeah, so that's been really cool. I've noticed that's been a really big shift within me.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's been cool.
So Lana, tell us about your work, because I was listening to your interview with Todd and it was fascinating to me. So tell us what you do.
So I initially became a therapist in 2020 to like work with young people's mental health, and I was like going to do private clients. I'd done a bit of that, and it wasn't for me, and I got really, really sad. I went back into kind of like the dark night of the soul, like, oh, what's my purpose? I'm a bit lost. And then like after months of kind of feeling really hopeless and like a place of confusion, because obviously I'd done college, I'd done this, I'd done that, and like nothing was like, you know, was set like sitting right with me. And then I had a download that actually, like, you know, use all the knowledge that you've got and use that to create a safe space for teenagers to come and heal in a positive way. So I think because of the way things are moving so fast, I'm noticing with young people and like people with a lot less programs, they are able to heal with a lot less tools, if that makes sense. So they're a lot like, so for example, I'll teach people the power of affirmations, power of words, power of spelling, the power of installing self-love, healing your inner child, and just those little things. Like, so I've had a few friends that have only come to like one of my classes, and that was about positive affirmations, positive thoughts, positive outcomes. That was, and literally she came for just that one class, and she's still saying to me like, thank you, bless you, that changed my whole life. Like, and so yeah, it's just kind of planting seeds and watching them grow, because a lot of teenagers and young people don't actually come across as saying they're spiritual. They don't really like use that like terminology. So I just plant seeds and watch them grow, and it's like, it's really, really cool, because if you kind of talk to them, like, I say consciousness evolution, or I'll say like expanding of the mind instead of spirituality, because when you say spirituality, I think it puts people off because they associate it with like Christianity and other things. And when it's not, it's like nothing. Like, but it's actually quite beautiful, because if you do look into some religions, I truly believe that all religions are kind of based off the same truth, but they're just their own versions, and it's all been mixed up and translated differently throughout times, and people have added their version, you know, and then, you know, the powers that be have added their versions. Because I've met some proper full-on Catholics and Christians who believe in the exact same thing as I do, exactly the same. They just interpret it slightly different.
Yeah, true. Very, very true.
There's evidence for that as well. Yeah, there's evidence for that in the world. There's evidence.
Cool.
Yeah, there's evidence for that.
So like, what source?
So I'm talking about ancient cultures. Like, I don't know where exactly Christianity came from, other than like around Israel and stuff. But like the original Bible, God had a wife, and there was the divine feminine in there as well. And through the translations of the Bible and the interpretations, because the Bible had to go through like a lot of editing to get to where it is today, and God's wife was taken out of it. I think her name is like Astrea or something. But you can Google God's wife and it will come up. And
yeah, some say she was turned into Mary Magdalene in the Bible today. Like, some say that she had a
transformation.
Yeah, they turned her, God's wife, into Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool.
I don't know. Yeah, if you watch, there's a movie that they made back in the 90s or 80s, and I remember it because there was such a hoo-ha about it at the time, and I cannot remember the name of the movie, but it was so controversial because Jesus and Mary Magdalene were a couple in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think it was, I can't remember I think it was just called Jesus Christ or something like that, something simple. And yeah, and they wanted to ban it. The church wanted to ban it, and that's why it got such traction, because like they were saying, no, you can't show this to the public. And then everybody wanted to watch it because the church was saying, no, you can't see it. Ban it, ban it.
Yeah,
so I'm
that's
sure
crazy.
if you search for it, it was made in the 80s, I think. You'll definitely find that movie.
Yeah.
And if I find it, I'll put it in the comments, but like under this post on
Yeah.
Facebook, if I find it.
I feel
Yeah,
like they
there's
just, oh, sorry, go on.
No, you go.
I was just literally just going to say this, like they've all obviously had the story of the truth, but they've just changed it to fit their agenda completely.
Yeah.
And that's why they've removed his wife, because, you know, looking at history, well, it's quite self-explanatory. Women didn't have that much power.
Yeah.
So of course they would remove his wife.
Yeah. It was like, it's really sad, and I think us women can really feel the frustration there. But what brings my mood up is like going back to the ancient and the indigenous cultures of that time, because like, and there was statues of God and then God's wife. There was like actual statues or like carvings in stone. So, you know, even if maybe for 1,000 or so years we haven't really known much about God's wife, what brings me peace is knowing that before Romans overtook the world and the agenda came into Earth, that everyone was really balanced. Like the ancient cultures are really balanced, and they knew more than we did. I mean, we still today don't even know how ancient Egyptians did things.
Yeah, they were connected.
Yeah, but there's so many connections in stories. Like they all speak of a flood happening, and like you connect all these different indigenous stories. They all had a flood that happened, and Easter Island connects to Australia, and you know, DNA wise, like Australian Aboriginals connect to like all these other indigenous cultures in the Northern Hemisphere. So I think really at one point we all started off in the same spot, or in close quarters, because like the statues on the backs of the Easter Island like heads, they're so similar to all these other cultures. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? All over the world, the exact same thing. I've seen that.
Yeah, it's mind blowing.
Like all the ancient, so like Stonehenge, the Great Pyramids, like they're all in alignment around like they're all in exact alignment, and also in exact alignment with the stars. Like you can't write this stuff. Come on, like it's absolutely crazy. And it's like, so it's almost like the same truth. Like you've actually kind of boggled my mind a bit there. So I wonder, like, when all these ancient things were created, it's almost like they were all tapped into the same thing in just different areas of the world. They were all connected to the same thing, like we all are. However, now there's just differences in consciousness. Are you connected to it? Or are you not connected to it? And obviously, there's loads of factors that play into that. Like, you know, so many different things. Like with you as a person, your diet, what you're surrounded by, your upbringing. You know, it's infinite. What creates you and what creates the connection that you have. And it's crazy. I'm just so grateful to actually see this mass awakening actually happen. And it's so bizarre because my life feels like some crazy movie, because even when I was a kid, like my dad would come up to me, I was probably about 8 years old, and be like, your generation will be the generation to see the mass awakening, because he was like, 2012 awakening gang, like old school.
I love that.
Awakening gang.
Before their time, people thought he was crazy, and now half the population believe in everything he was preaching. And same with my mum as well. They were like old school spiritual art. So it's actually crazy. Like, and like that also makes me just think as well, like, what if it is all just creation? Like the reason that they all like think the 70s planted the seeds, like for those generation that have, like, the few that stood out and actually spread that knowledge, and then like our generation that we brought up and that we spread that knowledge. Like, is it like the mass awakeners, and we just created the mass awakening through us, like we have just created it? Or is that like, have we created that through guidance, through like conscious guidance from our higher selves, from like higher beings? Who knows? It's just cool seeing the world going.
It so is. Yeah, it's like being in a movie and being one of the actors in it. Like,
actually, like main character goals.
Yeah, because like, at least my belief, like I believe that there are thousands, I don't even know, maybe millions of other beings watching us from through, like, maybe their astral body, through their physical body. Like, I don't know, I'd love to go up in space right now and see if there's any spaceships, but I really do think that they're surrounding our planet right now and kind of giving us big hug from the sidelines and showing their support.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that a lot, because I feel like I sometimes tap into like different realms and stuff, and I feel like I do tap into there's so many different forms. So I've not actually tapped into like higher entities in a while, but like when I was, like, I've seen so many different forms. So I remember having an experience where I left my body and literally like traveled so many different realms, and I was shown like universal laws. I was shown like so many different beautiful, incredible things, and then like at the top before I got to the top, my higher self was this blue alien, and she's visited me like so much. She hasn't in a while actually, but like when I was like connected to that, she was visiting me all the time. And when I was meditating, my intention was, I want to know, like, what is life? Like, come on, what is this? Like, I'm just fed up. What is it? And she was just like laughing at me, my higher self. She was in hysterics, like, crying of laughter. And she's like, it's all just a game. Do whatever you want. Why are you making it so hard for yourself? And that's why she was laughing so much, because she's like, I'm you, and like, I don't know why you're doing it to yourself, sort of thing. And then like just above her, like, so it's kind of like, it's hard to explain, because obviously, I mean, if you've ever astral traveled, it's not like 3-dimensional. So it's perceived to be up higher, so like higher realms. And it was this space, and there was like a lot of like mechanical like stuff, like mixing different energies around, and there was a table, and on this table it looked like a massive game board, but like so many different things, and there was 7 ascended masters just rolling a dice, laughing, and the table was the universe, and they were just like kind of having a laugh, like what energy is gonna overpower, what energy is gonna take over the earth, like how is it all gonna unfold. And like it was obviously, maybe that's just like my interpretation of what's going on, who knows, but like it was crazy. And like if I can kind of remember, there was like the 7 ascended masters, and like one was the blue alien, one was like a tree, like earthy man, like this green man, one was a reptilian, one was there was like they were all very like you could probably actually search them all, and that people have actually seen these higher beings before. And I was just like, when I came down there, I was like, it did put a lot of things in perspective for me, because I was like, this is, it's just a kind of like do whatever I want, as long as I'm being good to myself and others on the earth. Because it was just so funny. I was like, who knows? Imagine if it was just like one multi-dimensional alien game, and they're all just kind of laughing at us. Hurry up, humans, ascend.
Yeah, I think it is kind of laughable how much humans take things out of proportion, and they just freak out, and we really do take things seriously. I mean, I do. I like will cry and freak out over the smallest thing.
But you're so sensitive, but
I know, but still, like, it's still laughable how much we take things.
Yeah,
face value.
I think our feelings make it so real.
It
No,
is, isn't
like
it?
when we
It's so
feel things in
hard.
our bodies. Yeah.
I think it's just like
Yeah.
not attaching to the feelings. So like I went from such a chaotic, hectic person to this like now I think now I just kind of, it's like I cry but in a healthy way. I don't like, whereas in the past I would always avoid my emotions for so long that then like, as you say, like you would cry and freak out over like the littlest thing. So like if like, for example, like if my pizza burned, I would literally cry and like not stop crying. And yeah, now I'm just, yeah, I don't, do you know what? I can't really pinpoint the shift because I mean, I was a 17-year-old that was punching holes in my wall and my doors, and like I was really, really bad. Yeah, I think it was just obviously letting go of a lot, healing a lot. I just naturally, I've just now, when I feel emotion, I release it in a healthy way, and I do so much like inner work, so like a lot of affirmations, a lot of like program changes. So if I like see a way I'm acting and I'm like, actually I really want to change that, I really, really put my intention in shifting that, and every week's different, in what I'm doing.
Yeah, and allowing yourself to be happy and not attach to things too much.
Yeah, because I think when I'm sad, because I mean, I'm the same when it comes to burnt pizza. Like I'll be gutted. I'll be absolutely
Dad
gutted.
burnt your pizza the other night.
Yeah, but I wasn't crying. I was frustrated, but
yeah,
I was like, oh, thanks, Dad, for the burnt pizza.
Yeah, I would do the same. I would be, sassy. Thanks.
Yeah. But yeah, just like when those negative emotions come up, like especially at the start, in the first 1.5 to 2 years of my awakening, when I felt bad, I thought that like I put meaning to that meant I was in a bad place, like that I was in a dark place, that I'm in a negative place. But really, it was just my gunk coming up, and like I would allow myself to feel it, but I would put myself down because it's like, no, I'm crying yourself again.
Yeah,
I'm in this place again. I'm in a bad place. I'm in this negative spiral.
And then that just makes it worse, doesn't it? Because you're just bringing it into your reality more. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, it resonates. I still do that from time to time.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Me too. 100%. But sometimes part of feeling the emotion and like allowing that to transmute is letting that judgment come up.
Yeah, and everyone's got a different human design. I don't know if you've ever looked into your human design. It's incredible.
Yeah, we have.
And I'm like, it's so weird reflecting on everything I've ever been taught, because like half the stuff I know has been downloaded and half the stuff I've been taught from like actual like guides in my life. And most things I've ever been taught, I've always kind of laughed at it in my head and thought, nah, not real. And now all of that is just like my life. And the human design, my mum's got a beautiful friend called Louise, and she is like, I'm pretty sure she's a human design expert. Like she knows absolutely everything. And she is the same human design as me, I believe. I think, if I remember. And she'd always tell me about it, and I never used to get it, and now I fully get it. So like, and now I understand why I hold on to things so much, because I don't allow them to pass through me. Whereas my human design will take in the energy, absorb all the energy, whether it's good, bad, doesn't matter, and it will filter through me and it'll transmute it into love and light. And if I don't allow it to flow through me, I'm fighting the natural process of my human design, and then it's going to naturally obviously be worse. And like you say, like I'm actually like reflecting so much, because I've had quite a good past 2 weeks, but when I stepped off my path a little bit the past month, I was really down, and like when I'm really down, I'm like really, really down, and like because everything's kind of coming up to the surface as well. It's like little things. I'll feel so down and have like really intrusive thoughts, but they're not my thoughts. They're 15-year-old Lana who was suicidal thoughts, who needs healing, who needs loving, who needs, I need to bring her in, give her a big hug, and give her loads of love, and show her how beautiful the future is. But you forget about that when you're in it, don't you? You're like, you don't understand that that's Lana from the past coming up, or like you guys from the past, and I think it's just like the more you practice it, obviously the more you do remind yourself. So like now, so like it's actually funny, I'll have some random thought come up and I'll go, I know where you come from, I give you loads of love, I give you loads of light, and I set you free. I release you, send you back to where you came from. And it does actually work. My mum told me for years, every time you have an intrusive thought or a random thought, give it loads of love, send it back to where it comes from, and it just works. And I never really listened to it, and now I'm like, it just flows, and it's amazing. It's just instant. It's just instant release, like, you know. And sometimes if they're really strong programmed thoughts, they'll keep coming. They will just keep sliding in. But I love you. I give you loads of love. I surrender, and I let you go. And it does work eventually. But you've got to be mind strong, and it's hard. It takes time. You know? We're only human, trying to unlearn all the bullshit from the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is why that's why we decided to start Witch Bitch, because we wanted to have these conversations to talk to people about their processes, about their awakening stories, to bring that information out, because we don't have these conversations, and to have them publicly so that others can tap in and others can hear your experience, your personal experience, and our personal experience, then it makes people feel not so alone, and they can relate. They can relate to the story, or they can be like, oh, well, I never knew that. That's something I'll put in, like, into my little arsenal of tools, you know, that they can use for themselves or whatever. So, because I really believe that telling your personal story is so powerful, you know, and being vulnerable and being open and allowing people to hear what you have to say is massively powerful, particularly at this time in history.
I think that's why so many people are blocked from awakening, is because they're not listening to others, and they just, you know, brush them to the side. And I mean, I'm speaking from
and it's really sad from my experience. It's not their fault, it's just their program.
Yeah. I feel sorry for them more than anything else.
Because I see a lot of people that are actually awake, but they're still fighting the awakening process. But obviously, that's their journey. That's what they, you know, that's essential to them. And like sometimes I just want to shake my friend to just come with me now. It's like, you don't have to do this to yourself. Just take the easy road. It's like I always make a joke about it all the time. It's like, right in front of me is heaven on earth, you know, the exit from the 3D. But I'm over there in the bushes looking at a flower, getting lost. And as I'm trying to get away from the flower, I'm trapped in a cobweb, and I'm like still not to my destination, because we're just so easily distracted off our paths. And like, you know, by all these, you know, there's so many different things to be distracted by, you know, whether that's like, you know, people in your life, your own life, distractions from the outside, could be anything, food, movies, TV, social media. And like, I truly believe as well, going on your phone and scrolling actually disconnects part of your consciousness. And I never thought about that until recently. And it really does. Like, I love, because I self-reflect all the time, and I love reflecting on my growth, because I'll just leave the house and leave my phone at home, and I'll be at the bus stop going, I need that to contact Dylan, like my partner, like and like, but I'm so unattached as well, like my keys. Like I could forget that you need to lock a door. Like, well, I don't, because it's locked anyway. But it's, you know, I just forget, because I'm so unhuman that I forget about human things.
Yes. No, I mean, I wish I could forget my phone. I'm still on that page of like, because my belief is these devices, these dark magic devices, have been aimed at our generation. Like, they've really been like, the arrow has been directed towards us with these devices. And I think that was part of their programming. That was part of their intention by, you know, the elites.
Yes,
and
100%.
So I've found it, I think also because I'm so sensitive, I found it really difficult, because not so much to break away from their dark intention or their dark magic, but more so because it's like kind of a crutch for me when I'm feeling so overwhelmed and so like intensely just not okay with the world or with myself, I use my phone as a crutch to like shut off from that. Like that part where you were talking about how it blocks consciousness.
Because you get overwhelmed.
Like it blocks my consciousness from like being in my reality, and instead of being in my reality, I'm in this little screen in front of me. And I've found it really hard just because like I've used it again because I'm so sensitive to everything. Like I find it really hard to navigate things, but I've been like, okay, Juliet, it's time now to be a big girl and put the phone away and not rely on it anymore. Like I'm mature enough now, like I'm old enough now to not rely on that and just rely on myself. Like I'm not.
But you're really hard on yourself.
Juliet's
really hard on herself with stuff like this. Like I truly believe that you can have, like you were saying, McDonald's in your life, or have your phone in your life, or have these things in your life where they serve a purpose to a point, and then you go back to being healthy again. And you get off your phone and you get out of the McDonald's phase, and and then you go back to your original, like your self-programming, you get your control back and you go on your merry way again. But Juliet, she gets really hard on herself. Like, oh, I'm on my phone again. Oh, I hate myself for being on my phone again.
Oh, like, that's so sad. Don't do that.
Yeah, like she those things like bad food or her phone or certain things are attached in her mind to being a bad choice.
I get that though. I used to do the exact same with loads of different things. Like, what main thing for me was like being a teenager, like partying and drinking and stuff like that. Don't do it, girl. You don't have to. Because I've done it as well. It's like you beat yourself up and it's like ridiculous. That's why my higher self was like hysterically laughing at me, like in stitches. And she was like, it's all just, it's okay. You do you, boo. As long as you're not 7 hours a day, like, on the phone, like watching, random shit that's just going into your subconscious mind, that I think it's just because, like, for me, I would say pretty much every night I pretty much do the same thing. I'll do bit of this, bit of that, dinner, whatever, and then I'll go to bed and I'll watch half an hour of something, and then I'll go to sleep and listen to a little frequency or meditation, and I do that every single night, but I wouldn't say I'm addicted to my phone because I use it every single night. It's just, that's just, and I don't feel like, I think it depends, because when I'm depressed, like, or like going through like a stage of feeling depression, I'll know, because I'll be on my phone all the time. I'll be literally scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And then I think my poor subconscious mind did not need to see that 10-minute video about a dog that's got its nails painted or something stupid, like, and it's like my poor mind. And then we wonder where like all this distortion comes from, because like I've microdosed a little bit, and like there's so much distortion in my poor little subconscious mind, and then I wonder where it's all come from. Probably like years of just abusing on Netflix and YouTube and TikTok. It's a crazy place, my subconscious mind, because like the things that project out, I think it's beautiful with microdosing mushrooms, because the things that produce, because it's all you, obviously, like everything that projects out is all you, but once you actually really grasp that, you realize that nothing is actually bad at all. And I've seen some bad things, but they're not bad, like they're just you. So it's like, okay, I watched another podcast called The Mild High Club, and it's amazing. The woman on there, she explained it to me, and now I use this every time I try to explain what it's like on mushrooms. And she said she sees like a dark circle thing in the corner of our room, and instead of getting scared by it, she goes, what is that and why is it like that? Because it's coming from me, because it has to be, because the drug is just, it's in me, so it's part of me. And she goes up to it and she realized that was the reason it was all dark and curled and all horrible. It was her self-esteem. It's how she felt about herself. And then she went, oh wow, gave it loads of love, and now she's really confident girl filled with self-love. But so there's nothing's ever really dark. And I remember when I first started dabbling in psychedelics, I always seen reptilians. I'd look in the mirror and seen a rept, and I was never scared though. Like I obviously have a bit of fear, but I think it's a healthy amount. I'd look in the mirror and see a reptile, and like it would scare me, yeah, but it wouldn't be like, I wasn't like, you know, I wanted to know why. I wasn't running away, like I was like looking at it like, well, what? I was like, well, why are you there? Like, you know, and that was, and I figured out why. Never seen it again. Never seen it again. I've never even came like close to anything reptilian. I've not felt that energy in a good like 2-3 years. But yeah, like nothing's actually bad at all ever. It's just, and if it is, you can make it better, you know. It's just because I kept getting visited every time I was doing, because on Magic Mondays it's optional if you want to do a microdose, and every this Magic Mondays is like the healing club I run, and as every Monday, and every time I was doing, obviously I'm running a class, I'm a facilitator, so I need to be like, you know, proper, you know, grounded in myself, teaching. And every time I did it, I kept getting visited by a realm. So everything was normal, like, you know, normal day. And I'd look up and there's always this realm with this like, best way to put it is like AI technology, and it was like a horrible like worm thing, but it wasn't actually bad. I didn't feel anything bad from it, and it kept visiting me, and I had to keep ignoring it because I'm running a class. I'm like, go away, like just go away. And like I can't remember.
You're interrupting.
Yeah, and I'm like, why are you here? Like, just leave. And it was like the 5th week into doing it, and it was luckily that like no one had showed up except just me and my bestest friend. So I was like, brilliant, I can sort this out. I got up out my chair, looked up, and there was so many entities this time, but it was the same realm with the same Metatron looking guy. And there was just all these entities wanted to jump into me. They all wanted to have a go. They were like, I want to get in that. That is a powerful being. And I literally, I don't remember any of this really. I just remember looking up thinking, I want that space to be clear of entities. I want it to be yellow and purple, and I want it to look beautiful. And I jumped up, I wrote in my notepad, I am cutting all soul contracts from the past. Any life I've ever lived, I'm taking all my consciousness back, all my magic back, all my power back. It's been done, it's been done, it's been done. And it was really messy, and I signed it, a signature I've never even done before. So I was like, this is serious. This is some serious. And it was like, yeah, it's crazy. It's like nothing is ever really bad. And like, I think if I told my 15-year-old self this story, like about what I actually showed myself what I saw, I would have been petrified. But now I'm like, I'm ready to go into the darkness and be the light. And, you know, which is crazy to think, because I, you know, a year ago, I probably would have been scared just talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
This is how we clean up the world. This is how we.
Yeah, it's not a clean.
Yeah, but this is how we transmute it. How we get rid of things one at a time.
Yeah.
Give it loads of love.
Time.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about mushrooms, psychedelics, microdosing. I've never taken any, like I've never done any drugs other than alcohol, which I guess you could kind of say is a drug. Yeah. But other than alcohol, like I've never done anything other than like maybe laughing gas at the dentist.
Yeah, that's as far as it goes for doing it.
So, but I've been really curious about mushrooms.
Microdosing.
And microdosing, especially because I think mushrooms, like going full out with just like a straight full dose is a bit much for me, because I get very anxious when I see things and when I lose control. Like I mean, I would never say you lose control being under the influence of mushrooms, but for me, it's the perception. That's my perception.
Yeah. I love hearing this. I love hearing people's perception of mushrooms, because mine was, I mean, I was never like worried about like tripping, because I'd done DMT was like the first psychedelic I ever done. So and that was the experience I told you when I went to the top and I seen the table. I wasn't meditating, but I wasn't sure the rules. But I now see that it's okay to talk. But I wasn't meditating. I was on DMT, so I think I set myself right up for psychedelics.
Yeah, right.
That was, you know, next level. And but yeah, I think you can't compare like acid to mushrooms. Mushrooms is like it's like it's so a you journey. And I truly believe, like, and I know this by just like the classes I run and like the people I speak to, it's like, it's so like, you know, it's you have to take quite a bit, like at least like an 8 to trip, like to actually get like proper trippy, like things like that. So yeah, like it's not and it's, again, like it's really hard to put it into perspective. Like it's not, so I think I was really scared of like seeing things like, but they're not actually like there, if that makes sense. So like, say for example, I was like looking at this pillow and like see the like markings on it would kind of like, say for example, I'm connected to mandalas and like the flower of life, that would just slowly turn into the flower of life and look really beautiful. But that's not why I take them. That's like, it was maybe when I first started dabbling in them, because I just loved, like, you know, whoa, this is so cool, like downloading sacred knowledge and tapping into like ancient wisdom on that. It's you know, it's amazing. Now it's more like, you know, if to put it into best words, like an antidepressant, because like when I do every single Monday, when I take, you know, I can take as little as like a sprinkle to, you know, 3-4 grams, whatever I decide to take on a Monday, just sets me up for the week, and I have such a clear mind. There's no like BS like programs of the past. Like I feel like as soon as I've just got a sprinkle of it in me, it's just boom, I'm like, no bullshit, no distortion, no craziness,
Yeah, right.
no like
the cloud's clear.
yeah, it's just you, and it's incredible. Like I see the shifts in people as well. It's so beautiful to watch people become like their ego version to like their true authentic version, like through mushrooms. And I'm exactly the same, like looking at my growth through psychedelics. Now I probably would never touch acid again, because I'm like, why would you want to? It's like it's almost like wouldn't really know the difference between spice and weed, but if that makes sense, like it's almost like a fake version to like a natural version. It's almost like, I don't know, like a horribly made beer to like a nice made beer that's been produced properly, like it's not bad for you. Like it's not bad for you, but it's not good for you. You know what I mean? But yeah, so like, yeah, they are really beautiful. And like, if you're interested in them, I've been researching psychedelics since I was probably about 14. I done my art GCSE projects around that, so that's like school projects. So, you know, this has been in a part of me for a long time. So yeah, just have a little research and ask for intuition, because if it's for you, then amazing, you know. It is really cool. And it's so funny because I have like friends petrified, and then as soon as like it's not even like kicked in yet, and they're like, where do I buy these? Like, where do I get some more? It's so funny. I love it. Like my partner's brother was like the exact same. They were like really like, whoa, really suspicious, like proper you know, oh, I'm not too sure about that. And then like literally the next day they like bought a massive amount. So like, yes please, yes please. It's just amazing. And now like they really are magic as well. Like they're like actually magic. Like you see, like, so the food, the different, when you look at food, you're like, whoa, why am I eating that? That shouldn't go in my body. Like, yeah. And like you carry, I think what it teaches me as well, like I don't want to use them forever, but what it teaches me is like when you take back, for like, so I'm trying to word this, what you experience on the trip, you take back to you in the present day when you're no longer on the magic, but you bring the magic back with you. So and that to me is incredible.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard that that's how it works. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I've never tried them. Never.
Yeah, they're like, it's like obviously everyone experiences things different, so I can't speak for everyone, but just me and my close friends and my family that do them, it's like every time, even just a microdose, you have instant life lessons. Like, and I mean, I'm just sat looking at the grass in my garden moving, and I'm like downloading one of the most powerful life lessons that, you know, like it's crazy. It's like yeah, like I never really understood why people microdose until now I do, and now I'm like, oh, it's magic, literally magic. And then when I stopped taking it, my life literally like, obviously I would never want to rely on anything, but if it's essentially your journey for now, then I believe it's essentially your journey for now. But when I stopped taking them, all the program, it was just everything. I went completely off path, like completely, like, but when I take a little bit every Monday, I'm completely on my divine path, like my divine highest path.
Yeah. It's like anything in moderation. Anything in moderation.
Yeah.
If you are not reliant on it, but it adds something to your life, that's different to being addicted to something, I think, because the addiction is what takes over. and nothing else is important except that one thing that you're gunning for constantly.
Yeah.
But when something is in your life and it adds to your experience, that's different. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everything is balance, isn't it? You know, and I'm so glad I've learned that at 19. Like, I'm so proud of you.
It's a massive one.
Yeah, we've learned a lot. I'm so proud of us. Like, I mean, some people that have, like, you know, some people in their like 40s and 50s that have, like, you know, I wouldn't understand any of this, and like, so I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, it kind of makes me wonder, what will I be like when I am 40 and 50, and like, you know, what lessons will I be learning then? Like, what will my experiences be then? Because I feel like there's always something.
By that point, like, I know, I think it's hilarious. I see like funny memes all the time on Facebook. It's like, I don't know, it's like 17 years into the ascension, you think you've finally reached heaven on earth, and the universe throws another lesson at you, and I'm like, what more do I need to learn?
Yeah, there's always something. There's always something.
Yeah,
there's like,
it's constant expansion, isn't it? Even to the point, like, past like 3D living, to the point of like, okay, so now you're ascended master, you're like creating life lessons for humans as a higher being, like, you know, and then what's above that, who knows, like, just like never ending.
Yeah, and it's also, I feel like when you're going through a lesson and then you come through the other side, you heal that lesson at the layer that you're at consciously. So,
but it can go deeper.
When you move to the next higher level of consciousness, you know, then that lesson comes around again, and you have to
go deeper
with your higher level of consciousness, and it just comes and comes.
It's a spiral,
and it's really effing annoying sometimes. It's really tiresome.
Like, I'm actually so grateful for this whole conversation, because like every time you guys say something, it's like, whoa, thank God they've just said that and reminded me. Like, oh, thank you.
Same with you.
We're learning from each other.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the universe reminding itself of itself. I love it. But yeah, it's so true. Like, even like little things, I feel like right now, for me, and I know for a lot of others that I speak to, it's almost like a theme, like the things from the bottom of the subconscious mind, things that you wouldn't even think about healing are coming up, things that you know forgot about, some completely random things, you know, like whether it's like jealousy or guilt or shame or just like whatever it is, like everything's really coming to the surface. And like I'll have memories come back from like being 5 years old and something stupid, like something to do with my pink DS or a game I play, I don't know, you know, something really random. And like, it's like, wow, so like it really is just like those last little things that you've not dealt with and not faced yet, coming to the surface. And it's so funny because my higher self is like, if you don't deal with it, I'm going to make you deal with it. And like some of my biggest things, that's more of my bigger things, you know, that I have been just avoiding, like, no, I'm fine, I'll deal with you when I'm ready. And like, she's just like, she's there, like, you know, the time is now. Come on, Lana, step on your path, and if you don't, I'm gonna make you. And that is literally that's what's been happening.
We know that very well.
I had a pink DS too.
Pardon?
I had a pink DS as well.
Oh, I love it. Picture chat. I want to get one now. It'd be so cool.
You've still got it, haven't you?
Yeah, I've still got it, and it works.
Yeah.
I played dogs.
I love that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, Animal Crossing.
I love that DS, man. Oh.
It's so funny. I wanted to buy one like a couple of Christmases ago, but they're so expensive. It was like £50 for a DS. I was like, what? It's because they're retro.
Really?
They're retro.
They're retro. Don't call something from my childhood retro, please.
I know, it's weird. Yeah, if you search in DS, it'll say retro. Because the DS, I think it was like the DS Lite or the original. I can't remember. But I was like, retro, damn. I'm not even 20 yet. Like,
no.
I feel like a child.
10 years ago or something.
Yeah, but technology moves so quickly.
Yeah, it's
Anything
crazy, isn't it?
technology related is retro within 5 years.
I can imagine for you as well, like, because, like, I mean, for me, it kind of was just like I kind of just had phones, but I bet for you it was crazy going from like no internet to like internet, and like I bet that was like I bet life is just I bet you feel like you've lived like multiple lifetimes because I do, and I'm not even 20, and like, I can't imagine living through like the 80s and the 90s. That's so cool. Like, I'd love to, like, you know, obviously it's getting late for me today, but I would love to hear more and share like your
Yeah.
experiences. Yeah, like
Yeah, we will
going
next
through.
time. We'll pick it up next time from
Yeah, because
here
like
and
going
we'll keep
through.
going.
Yeah, because like, do you feel like you were always spiritually connected to a certain extent, or
Me?
yeah,
No.
really?
I think I was deep down inside because I've always had intuition,
Yeah,
and I've always had a very strong sense of who I am. Because I didn't get on with my mum. She was quite a stern woman, and she had very
Understatement
yeah,
of the century.
yeah. She was very. It was her way or the highway,
Yeah.
and she
yeah,
had very strong ideas about things. And so if you were strong, then she was like, oh no, like you got to fit in with me. So you had to be flexible around her because she was so rigid. And sometimes that rigidity would be, she had very strong ideas about us kids because she felt we were a reflection of her. And so if I did something that she didn't agree with, or if I stepped out of line in any way, she was quickly, get the wooden spoon and put you back in your place.
yeah. It's crazy how different
So
generations are, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
so there was no room at home for me to have self-expression. And so I took as much as I could from the space I was in. I tried as hard as I could to get the things that I wanted in my life. But there was a lot of indoctrination. So I grew up very self-conscious and extremely worried about what other people thought of me, because she drummed that into me, like
yeah.
what will the neighbors say and things like that. And plus it was the 80s. So
I'd love,
um
I'd love for you to
it
speak to my
was
mum. You and her would just reflect and resonate and just vibe.
yeah.
Yeah,
I would
oh
love
bless
to.
you.
I'll talk to your mum.
Yeah,
I'd
what
love
was
to
the
do
80s
that.
like then?
The 80s was very much, I went to a convent school. I went to a Catholic convent school. No boys.
All nuns.
All nun, well, not
Oh,
all nun
really?
teachers, but there was a convent in the school. But it was a progressive convent school. It was progressive. So they taught us girls that you could do anything a boy could do. And it was all girl power in the 80s, and it was all powerful. And it
Oh,
was,
that's nice.
yeah, it was all about, um, you know,
Progressive convent school.
it was all because that movie with Gordon Gekko about greed, and it was all like, and there was money everywhere, um and it was just a different time, like, and it,
Yeah.
I was very into music in the 80s. I was really into music. My dad was a musician, so I used to get up every Saturday morning, switch on the telly, and watch music videos. And I would learn dancing from there. And my sister and I used to put on concerts for my parents.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
yeah, we would do that. And I would learn about fashion from these music videos. And yeah, so I had a strong sense of who I was through music because that was allowed at home. My mum would be entertained by us, so that was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was just all about girl power, being pretty, being self-expression through your fashion, through your music taste, and being like knowing what you wanted to do when you left school, like being a power woman, you know, that sort of thing with the big shoulder pads and
That's
all of that.
awesome.
So,
Though. I love that. That's so cool. It's weird that, to hear you say that, like, it was a different time and stuff like that, because actually, like, reflecting on just like, obviously I'm only 19. School was like only 4 years ago for me. School now and like school then, it's like totally different. Like words like mindfulness, self-love, self-care, I wouldn't know any of those words when I was in school, whereas now it's so normalized. If I said to my friend in school, I'm going home to do some self-love, they think I'm probably going to go do something naughty. Like, whereas, whereas now I say to someone, I'm going home to do some self-love, they'll know what I mean. They'll know I'm going to go home and practice self-love. Which is
that's
amazing.
actually really true.
Yeah, so things are moving fast.
Yeah.
See, in the 80s, there was no self-reflection whatsoever. It was all about projection. It was what you projected out, you got back. So if you projected this powerful woman, persona, then you would be powerful and you would be successful and you would get money, and like it was all about that. It was all about what
the 3D.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
it was all
that's
about
crazy.
3D and being
but then
successful.
isn't the 80s when like properly TV hypnosis came in as well? So that probably played like a big part into it as well.
It was everywhere. It was everywhere. It was at school. It was on the telly. It was even my mum to a certain degree. My dad not so much. My dad was a very internal person, and I got my softness from my dad, whereas the hardness came from my mum. That drive to succeed came from my mum. Like she really pushed.
It's so crazy as well, like the difference in like the programming, if you actually like reflect on how awake people were then and now. And I think it's so funny. I don't know if you guys have seen the new movie. It's called Don't Look Up with like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes.
And
I haven't.
Yes.
Because I refused to watch it.
Oh no, you should. It's only because it's so
true. Really depressing.
It is. It's hilarious because it's so true. It literally is like how easily brainwashed humanity can be, and it's scary because like half the stuff I preach now, 4 years ago, I would have laughed at you if you told me that's what you believed in, and I probably would have taken the mick out of you. And now I'm like a completely different person. I literally it's crazy. So it's like it's all it is the difference of being open-minded and closed-minded and deciding actually don't ignore this, just look into it and see how you feel. And it's crazy because like I truly believe there is kind of one truth. Everyone just interprets it and uses it in their own way. And it's just like about maybe just not ignoring that, and like because it's actually like it's crazy because I remember the other day I was literally sat in town with all my friends, and these 3 people came up to us and they're like, do you have a minute to speak? And I was like, I always have a minute to speak, of course, what do you want to talk about? And they were I think they were like, I can't remember what type of Christians, but like Catholics, like I can't remember the specific type, maybe Jehovah's Witness. But the way they were preaching what they believe in, it was so judgmental, it was so forceful, it was so like, and I gave them the time of day anyway, because I'm not, I'm open-minded. I'll let them kind of speak what they want to say. But the way they were doing it, bearing in mind we're like a group of like 17 to 19-year-olds, so we're like, we're all kind of like we all love our manifesting, we all love like in the place that we are in, because life's great because we just create what we want. And so we're trying to like speak to them about that from a scientific perspective, because this is now like actually science. This isn't just like spiritual chat. This is now quantum science. How actually think everything you think is actually projecting the world around you. Thinking good things is going to naturally attract good things. And I was talking to her about that, and in front of my 1-year-old daughter, she turned around and was like, that's the devil work, you're the devil. And my friend, she's just so funny. I wouldn't have reacted to it like this. I would have just walked away. My friend literally was like, yeah, we're the devil, go away. I was like, if we're the devil, then leave. And then they wouldn't leave. And I was like, you need to leave now. I can't believe you just brought up that in front of my child, like leave. And I was like, asking them to leave, and they wouldn't leave. And they eventually did. And I was just ignoring them at this point because I was just like, go away. But it was just like, yeah, it's crazy. And like the poor boy, this young boy who was a part of that group, he was like, I don't know, probably about my age, like 19, 20. And like the way like they are defending sexism in the Bible and racism in the Bible and homophobia, and because that was my first, because I love what's the word, challenging people's beliefs if they are actually wrong. Like, you know, you believe in whatever you want as long as it's not hurting people or hurting a whole, like, you know, a whole race of people. And that's my first thing. So like, what about I can't remember what I pulled up. It was literally fresh on my phone. It was like it was literally like a quote from the Bible that was homophobic. I was like, so do you believe in that? And he was like, I believe everything in the Bible. So you hate half of us here then, because half of us here are, you know, we like men and women. So what's, you know, what are you saying then? And then, but then they're defending it, and they like, it's so weird. Like not weird. Sorry, I shouldn't use that word, because that's, I don't mean to be judgmental, but it's like, what's the word? It's like, it's really fascinates me, the psychology behind it. Because obviously it is all just programming, it is. But like, I feel really bad, because for me, it makes me sad, because I seen in this boy that he was like, following it because he wanted to find peace and love and happiness through life, because he'd been through a really traumatic life. And then it made me feel really sad that then they were in the street kind of being really judgmental and like forcing that onto other people. It made me think, if your religion and your faith was so powerful and so amazing, you'd be practicing it, not forcing it onto other people.
Yeah, not preaching it to others.
Yeah, because I don't force what I believe into other people. I'll naturally bring it up in conversation, but if it's not for you, I'll shut it down, and we'll talk about what does resonate between us as people, you know. And I'll always do that. Because I've noticed as well, like, you won't get through to someone by like forcing them as well, because that builds up the resistance, that builds up the if you force someone, like, nah, I don't want to do that. But if you lead by example and plant seeds, that's how things actually happen. Because the more you tell someone what to do, they rebel, the rebel, the you know, resistance, and the more it pushes it away from them. When actually, if you just do whatever, you know, lead by example, if it is meant for them and it's the better, like, you know, the more positive way to live for yourself and others, then that will naturally just happen, and you'll naturally just follow suit. And it's so funny, I reflect on
the difference is someone feeling pressured, or somebody being presented with a piece of information and then being left to make up their own mind. That's the difference.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really cool, because I remember my ex, we were together like 3 years, and it was so toxic, really bad relationship. And I remember like sitting and talking to him about all this spiritual stuff, like right when I first didn't know what any of it meant. And he'd sit and listen to me for hours and hours and hours. And towards the end of our relationship, he snaps. He was like, I don't fucking care about any of this stuff. I hate it all. Like, it's just all BS. I don't, like, you know, went off on me about how much he doesn't believe in any of it. And it broke me. It proper broke me. Like, and it really like shattered me. And then, so funny now, 2 years down the line, he's living on a hippie commune on a campsite, preaching the stuff I was teaching him about. So it's funny how the universe works. It really is. Like, you know, I say this to anyone, like, if someone's in a bad situation and you want the best for them, don't try and make them change. Just lead by example, and when they're ready, they'll come. And you know, that could take a long time. It could take some days, it could take months, it could take years and years and years. But, you know, that's their journey on their soul path. Because I have some really close friends that I see, and like, that go through dense, darker experiences. And I wish I could just go like, you don't need to do that. Come on, just come step in the light. But it's an essential part of their journey, and I need to remind myself of that, because I spent like probably a long time being really sad and down, because I was just so like, I just want my friends to stop self-sabotaging. And that was affecting me a lot, because I just wanted, like, you know, what's the best for everyone. But actually, you know, you can't sit around and help everyone. You just got to help yourself and whoever's there when you know, when the time is right.
Yeah, that's beautiful advice, and very, very wise advice, because at the beginning, when I first woke up, was at the beginning of 2020, when the light bulb went on, like it was shining right in my face. And I kind of went into this, like, I put on my superhero coat, what do you call it, cape. And I thought, okay, now I need to wake people up. Now I need to go and preach and tell it, which is basically what those religious people were doing to you.
Yeah.
And I need to tell people the truth. And there was certain people that I saw on social media who I loved, and I thought, I need to talk to that person. And so I would start sending them things, and they freaked out and they were like, Claudia, you're crazy. And rather than listening to the message that I was sending them and listening to the information, they blocked out the information completely, and it reflected onto me in their minds that I was doing something, like it reflected badly on me.
Yeah.
And then they started to attack me, and then it became a toxic situation. And so I had to stop talking to them, because it was like, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was telling these people something that was really important. But it wasn't their truth. It was my truth.
Yeah.
And they couldn't hear it. They weren't ready for it. And so it created a really big crack in our friendship. And I lost those people because of it. And it was totally unnecessary. I didn't need to do that. But because I had this sense of
I
like,
need to go preach this
yeah,
message.
I need to tell people, like, this is incredible. I need to tell people, because they're like, I need to go and wake people up, you know, and I need them to hear me. That was all about me. That was all a thing
It's
in
really
me.
interesting to hear it though, because every time I speak to older generations, I'm talking like 35 plus kind of, it's always kind of the same thing. And it was all kind of around the same time, so like 2020 time. And although you say that, you know, you didn't have to be that way, but actually maybe that was an essential part to align you to the people that you're supposed to be in your life. And sometimes those things aren't nice, you know. I've lost some, you know, great friends, and not in the nicest of ways, but if you ignore what's supposed to happen, it'll happen anyway, and it can happen in all sorts of ways. And I think that's the difference as well between like consciously creating and unconsciously creating. So if you're unconsciously creating and ignoring stuff, then it, you know, what was essential for you to learn might happen in a worse way when you could have just learned it in a really nice flow state. But you've not. You've ignored the signs, and it's hit you like, you know, a ton of bricks. But yeah, it's whatever happens for the way it's supposed to, and it's really beautiful, like reflecting on things, because I remember like going through a really dark time, hating the corrupt justice system and seeing like all that horrible stuff, and then like actually like now down the line, all those bad things that were happening, actually like karma does exist. The universe does work in magical ways, and it does take time, but you've got to trust and surrender and not fight it. And everything that was like, everything you want in life will come your way within reason, you know, as long as you're not wanting bad things. Like if you're, you know, and that's another thing I've learned with manifesting as well, is how you manifest, the place you manifest from. So like, why are you wanting to do what you're trying to create? You know, that's a big thing for me, because like, okay, usually like I'm just creating peace and happiness. That's usually what I'm creating. I'm not too crazy. I'm not trying to like, you know, do nothing too mad. And like, it's like, okay, so as long as that's coming from a place of peace and love, like, it's like money as well, like manifesting money. Okay, so why are you manifesting money? Is it for a selfish need, or is it because is it for the greater good? And like, actually it is for the greater good. Why manifesting money? To put into my business, to help expand me and others, and help connect to others and stuff like that. And you know, so it's like, as long as you've got good intention, and anything in life will come your way, absolutely anything. And like, it's magical how fast it's all happening now, because I remember manifesting being like, oh, it happened like 6 months time, and then oh, it happened like 3 months time, and then it was like, oh, it takes about a month to like really solidly create something. Now like, me and all my friends are, what do you want to do today? Like, what should we create? Like, let's make the impossible possible, because that's what we do.
Wow,
love that. All right, let's leave it there. It's been nearly an hour and a half, but we're going to have you back on for sure.
Yeah, this is late for me. I need to go to bed.
I'm tired from waking up a bit early, but
I know, I can't believe it's like 7 a.m. for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now it is. Yeah. It's like almost 7:30.
Oh,
but I don't think, because I mean, I'm sort of used to it, because I babysit and I have to wake up at 5:30 every morning to babysit.
That's an early start. My daughter would never.
Well, no, I'm not babysitting. I'm not waking up early to to like babysit straight away, but the parents
Leave the
leave
house.
for work, so I have to. I have
Okay,
to
yeah,
let
I
them
get
do
you.
it.
I get you. Oh, it's amazing meeting you both. Thank you so
You
much.
too,
It's been
Lanna.
so incredible to be here. Yeah, like, oh, my heart. I feel so whole and grateful. I'm going to go to sleep with a massive smile on my face.
Yeah, awesome.
Awesome. We're
Awesome.
gonna spend the rest of our day with a big smile on our face.
Yeah, thank you
Oh,
for joining
dear.
us and
I
showing
hope
us
this
your
is,
true self.
yeah, always. It was really nice doing the podcast with Todd. That was like my first kind of ever time doing a podcast. This has been a more like much more comfortable because I've kind of got the nerves out the way now, so I can just
Yeah.
speak freely. So yeah, feeling really grateful. So thank you so much, and we'll all have to meet up again soon.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Have a beautiful
Beautiful.
day.
You too. See
Bye.
ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.